Just gonna send out the tweets and stuff. You know how it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I've been thinking we definitely should start with ReZero because I think that's been
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I'm good with any.
we had those have been like pretty good fights, if I do say so. But okay, I'm sending it out. I'm just gonna send it to my chat real quick. Uh, I'm trying to. So it's been a while. Like
Mhm. Yeah. So which Yeah, like 3 episodes for ReZero.
we got four.
4 episodes for ReZero.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness,
we didn't do
ReZero.
the we didn't do
That
the
last time.
yeah we didn't do it
That
last
last
time
time.
when it was like at 2 or something like that. So
Oh, okay.
so now we gotta
I thought we did it. I thought it was the last one, or maybe we decided not to at the last
no,
minute.
because
But
it was getting late, and we're like we can do it
yeah.
tomorrow,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and now we was then it was like tomorrow, and then I think
Oh
and then I
yeah,
just went
you're
to
right.
sleep because you were gonna be even later, so I was just like, well,
Yeah.
we'll just do it next week. It's fine. And next week turned into 3 weeks.
Yeah, three.
So
4 episodes. Okay,
I
four
mean, they're
episodes.
mainly fights, so I don't think they're gonna be like. There's just a couple things that that we'll talk about, But
Yeah.
all right, I got my notes ready.
All right.
Okay, let me open up notes. So funny enough, right? I think for at least for like the main stuff on the
Mhm.
or the big long videos, we won't have to like cut them up as much because I think YouTube is doing
Mhm.
a thing where now they're like they want like a pause in between videos if you want ads.
Mhm.
So
Oh.
so like I'm probably just gonna be we're just gonna be able to like I'm just gonna it's gonna be a lot less work for me. Just
Mhm.
I'm just gonna export this over to YouTube and set
Oh,
timestamps um
that's great.
in case that channel ever gets monetized. you know.
That's really good.
Okay,
Yes.
but ReZero. So
ReZero.
so episode 62 is the Emilia Subaru and what's it greed fight. You wanna
Yes.
what are your thoughts on it?
Yes. So I feel like Emily stole the show with how she was fighting him.
Hmm.
But before then, Subari was the one that came up with the whole, you know, idea of what his weakness was.
Yep.
He figured that he was playing like a trick, like he was pulling something that he was doing something that caused him not to easily die or regenerate in a way. And I like that he figured it out and shared that information with Amelia, and Amelia, deliver the punches and things.
Yeah.
So yeah, this episode was really I I really loved seeing them fight together like that. It was development for sure,
Yeah. I yeah.
and their like from them, their relationship, and yeah,
No. I
enjoyed that.
yeah.
I
So
enjoyed that a
I
lot.
do want to talk about like the power that we finally got introduced to greed. Right. It finally got
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
explained where it was like
Yeah, you should, yeah.
yeah
I
where
just kind of understood that he kind of just like will place his heart somewhere.
okay so basically he places parts of his heart
Heart.
on his
Okay.
other wives, right? So whenever he stops his heart, as long as the other wife's hearts keep beating, it's like he's still pumping blood in his veins. So that's why his power was so OP. Because as long as he had a piece of his heart on the other wives, his heart wasn't completely stopped.
Right, right, that's right. And Amelia even took care of the wives, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh, that was so powerful, right? Because they were like,
right, because they had such a like emotional moment because they really thought they had to die, right?
"Yep,
And she obviously, figured a way to not to not,
which
necessarily
yeah, I mean, she just
hurt
like
them
froze them in basically like to a near
and
death state.
slumber. Yeah. Hmm.
So, and which is really cool. Like if you've seen the Frozen Bond OVA,
Right.
that's how
Uh-huh.
you know she's able to do that.
Yes, I agree.
And
It reminded me of the movie.
uh, the other part, right? When Emilia noticed that she had it in her, right? And remember how I told you Subaru's ability
I
was the
know.
key to winning?
That was intense. That was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. A moment. Wait a
Yeah,
moment.
it was it was
Now
so
what?
good. Like
Yeah, it was like a now what? But no, yeah. Like you said, then Subaru um, came through with the powers from that other dude that he took
yeah,
it from.
which Emilia noticed it was Gius, right? The one that was like kind of her father. He's like, oh, so that's where
Hmm.
you've been. And I was just like I was almost in tears when I'm like, damn, she knows that Subaru has a part of him in him now, and it kind of like it just brought me back to like the first season of like, what if Emilia like actually um remembers that the guy from the first season, right? The sloth guy was
Hmm.
Juice. Like it's just like so like brainstorming. Like damn, different scenarios that could have happened in that, you know. And I really love that she got like Greed's power temporarily because of that, you know. Like, and she was able to like do that fist combo on him.
Hmm.
So like I'm like, yes, hit him for every one of his wives that he mistreated.
Yes, she really did, and she really did say that, huh? I love that
I
for
mean,
her.
it's so good. And I guess the last thing is, how'd you feel about him? The way Greed met his end.
Yeah, it was great because he definitely had a crush on him, right? And he and he saw him, right? That
Yeah,
he called him so much time, weeks, like, and to be, you know, what ends him, it's just ironic. So, but deserving. So yeah.
yeah. I'm just like the note I put on that is like awful way to drowning to death. You know, like
Right.
eh, yeah, it was brutal for him. Like totally brutal. But funny enough, I think that was like the weakest fight in out of these 4 episodes.
Right. I want to say that too, or the most flashy one in a way.
I
You
mean,
know.
yeah, but I think the best fight, it's not even this next one in episode 63, which is the Garfield fight, right? How'd you feel about
The what
the
fight?
Garfield fight?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good. I don't have complaints, but it wasn't like um that impressive either. So.
I mean, I personally found it like really good, really well animated. Personally, right? Like I think there was a person that used to work on the One Piece anime that animated a portion of this fight, like the best looking part
Mm,
where it was like all the crazy like different angles and stuff that he was doing.
mm.
And yeah, I really enjoyed that in this fight. Garfield conquered his fear. You know, like the one that has been plaguing him the entire season with the vampire lady.
Yes. Yeah, he finally got over that.
Yeah, and it was like the fight with he's like solidified his, how to say, his conviction. He's like, I am the ultimate shield, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
and he was facing up against a guy that we got a little like backstory where he was like the ultimate sword or something, right? Kind of crazy. And then I think in this episode we also got a bit of like the Lust and Al fight, which was just kind of like, slicing and dicing, and Al was acting a lot like Subaru, I think, in that
Yeah,
portion.
I have to say I agree. Yeah, he was saying some things like that it only made sense, but I guess it teaches us more about him and how they are similar. So,
Yeah, and not
are
only that,
you?
like I also like that because he's also like from Subaru's world. It's kind of like
Right.
there's a lot of hints that he's throwing that he kind of has a similar personality as Subaru because they're probably from like the same time period.
Hmm.
And no, but yeah, I love the way Garfield like ended this fight. Also, just he just loves biting the neck of people.
Yeah, he really did.
But
He
now,
was so good.
the best fight I think that we've seen is definitely episode 64, right? With Wilhelm and his wife.
Yes, that was great. I thought the story was amazing too.
Yeah,
Um, because it's um he tried or he felt like it was a regretful kind of like like he was reminiscent about the relationship and he kind of seemed like he was feeling regretful. But towards the end, this woman really like you know let him know that it was real, and that it
yeah,
and that
yeah. He,
and that it was all thanks to him. It was great. It was beautiful.
no,
Such a
yeah.
good,
So yeah,
such a good like way like episode because it really told the whole fucking story of their story in one
and not
episode. Like,
and and it was like it started off from her point of view, which I thought was really interesting. Where it's like I fell in love with
hmm
you at first sight, and then it just
hmm
kind of like we've already known like the story of this, right? Because Wilhelm like
hmm
told it prior and in season one, I believe, right?
yeah,
But seeing it from her perspective gave us like a whole new look where it was kind of like
right.
she she didn't want to be the sword saint. She was just kind of like chosen, and
Right.
that like cursed her as well as like blessed her because she felt bad that she stole like the one thing her brother was good at,
hmm
and
Or
then
dedicated too.
yeah, that was good at and dedicated his life to, and she just sort of like
hmm
came in and beat him easily, right? Like gifted.
Effortlessly, yeah.
And then she didn't want to when she went out on her first like major like war. She didn't even participate in it, and then she learned the
Nope.
consequences of that. Whereas like everybody died because she chose to let her brother handle it because the brother, obviously being the older brother, was gonna be like, you know what, I'll handle it. You know,
hmm
I'll protect you.
Yeah, it was definitely
And then of
really,
course, after seeing all that, you get the how she viewed Wilhelm like actually beating her, right? And it was like, you know what? I'll never let you pick up a sword again. Because now,
yeah. It was really great that he kind of like will see through her facade in a way.
yeah, he saw it through her, and like you said, the whole touching moment at the end was like made more powerful because she told him she loved him, and he like
hmm
never really said those words, and that was like his
hmm
regret because even on the day
hmm
that she left him to go fight the whale, he couldn't bring himself up to say it.
Right.
And now we know that it wasn't even the whale that did her in. It was Pandora's box. You know, back from like season 2 when she also got a hold of Emilia's mother. So now we know that Emilia's mother could be out there as well,
Yeah.
just under her spell. And yeah, it was the moment was beautiful with her her
Hmm.
her and Wilhelm as he was holding her, and she just let him know, like, you didn't need to say anything to me because your actions proved to me that you did love me.
Hmm. That's right. It
And
was very beautiful.
yeah, very beautiful. And props to Reinhard, who was able to pull his sword in this one.
Yeah, dude. And that moment with the fucking stupid son.
Yeah, Reinhard's father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. I just wanted to. I just wish somebody like slapped them in there. You
For
know.
real. For real.
Like,
And I thought he was going to get it from Reinhold, but I guess not.
nah. Reinhard had better things to do. Which the
For
grandfather like was like, yeah, you got other places to be. Which we didn't really talk about it, but he did end up. He was the one that ended up defeating Greed in the fight with Subaru because they wanted to do a 1v1. And Subaru's like, okay, well, you can have it, Reinhardt, So Reinhardt's kind of like going all over this place,
real.
especially now on episode 65 now, right? With the the
Oh
Gluttony's
my god,
fight.
yeah.
So Gluttony is fighting against Otto, and the other Gluttony is fighting against Julius. Which one do you want to talk about first?
Oh, Otto.
Otto? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the Otto fight was really interesting because we saw him do the little serpent thing, right? And I'm kind of wondering, they're kind of like, damn, he can actually fight, and he's a magician. Like, what's happening here?
Right.
And we let her. We thinks Otto's like such a like best wingman, best support character. Like he instantly learns that the moment he learns the names of people, he can steal them, steal them from this world, and steal their abilities.
Mm-hmm. He figured he figured that out quick.
Yeah, yeah, we did, and it was like it it felt like really interesting seeing it play out, especially because the one person that Glenny was had in the ground, everybody forgot who he was instantly. But he was the way he was talking was kind of like manic because there was like, damn, who are you? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, who are you talking about? And how can you move like that? You move like somebody you're trained. And then Beatrice shows up. You know, uh, Beatrice showing up was really crazy because then she started talking like she was Rem, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when you realize when Rem, not Rem, when Beatrice realized that, damn, we cannot let him see Subaru at all.
Yeah, that was that was a moment um when they were trying to protect her from the whole Ram, like reminding him of Ram. But um he did say, didn't he say that even killing him wouldn't bring her back or something like that?
Yes, he said that.
Right?
I don't think he said that killing him would bring them back, but I I don't recall actually.
Oh no, actually no, that was the dragon
Yeah, that was the
with the
dragon. That was
lady.
Lust.
Yeah, yeah, sorry, that was the dragon with yeah, you're right. It was the other. But yeah. Um yeah, okay, good. Because fuck. They
But it was really interesting with now that we got Beatrice out. Uh, we got Julius who was having a rough time.
Mhm.
And the entire time that he was mocking them and taunting them, and I'm just thinking, like, who could he be, like, trying to play as? I'm like, because he's acting like he knows them, but at the same time, it was like, you've never met Julius, so how would you know him, right? And that's when it clicked for me, when they got the little flashback of Julius trying to give an apple to somebody, and Julius had no idea that. I'm like, he ate his brother. Like,
Wow.
yeah, so Julius has a brother that we never. I think we did hear about him, or
Right.
or maybe we didn't. I do not recall. I know we
No,
may.
me neither.
Was it because I think it was his little cousin that went to see Subaru, right? It wasn't his brother.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Or it wasn't really specified. Maybe just family or something.
Because if it was his
Yeah.
brother, that means that would explain why we haven't seen him in a bit. But
Mm.
yeah, no, I feel bad for Julius. Really,
Yeah, he's having the tough fight.
yeah,
And his whole family drama is another level.
yeah, it is. But I think that's it on ReZero. You got anything else?
Yeah. No, just like the fight with Lust was um,
Oh, yeah, Lust. I almost
you
forgot about
know,
Lust.
yeah, like pretty legit when they tried to like smash her with like that building. But I mean, the fact that she's so gross and
Yeah,
like all the rats and things like that. But I mean, I just can't wait for them to do an one up her like for real, real. You know, that woman just seems like yeah, infrared. Yeah,
yeah, no,
but yeah, that's it.
yeah. Uh, okay, well that'll be it on ReZero.
Mhm.
Okay, so we got a new chatter. Hi, Beatrice. It's one of my new buddies I made out of Threads. She's here watching the stream.
Oh, hi, Beatrice.
But okay, um, you what? Which one you want to do next? Because I did say on like the little stream thing that we were gonna do solo leveling orb. Um,
Oh yes, let's do orb.
okay, let me find orb. Um, Let me just get to my notes of orb because I think orb just finished too,
Mhm.
so it'll be perfect. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna get the stuff ready real quick. So, Beatrice, we're gonna be talking about orb. If you have not seen orb, you should probably add it to your watch list because it's
Orb was so fucking great.
yep.
There's so amazing.
And we're really not gonna um we're gonna try to like talk about it, and then after we talk about it we get it if you want to keep, and then after we talk about it we look at the I'll look at the chat for a bit, but I'll be typing if you want to be talking in chats and stuff. So okay, orb orb, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So orb, we got episode 23, 24, and 25 to wrap up the
And
season.
25. Yes.
So the so 23 is the last bit of like with Nawak and Draka.
Mm-hmm.
What part do you want to talk about first? The Draka at the end, or Nawak realizing what's happening?
I guess him realizing what's happening.
So basically, Nawak Walt's in there while they're talking about it, and he's kind of like, well, wondering like, so if what I'm doing is kind of like a wrong, what would happen if like we all disappear? How would I wonder how things would go on from here, right? That's kind of like what Nawak was trying to like really really because he really was trying to put an end to heliocentrism. So he wondered like if if like ending both Anthony and Draka would basically put an end to it.
Hmm.
So he did devise like kind of like a plan to like prevent them from escaping,
Yeah.
but he didn't count on Draka being the one to like kind of like stab him. you know?
Man, I can't believe. Yeah. Honestly, he fucking stabbed her first.
Yeah, he should have like he did, but she still managed to get away.
He really did. But
But I love that episode 23 brought back Raph or Raphael, whatever, right?
yeah. Hmm.
And freaking Nawak was just giving him a lot of questions, right? And
Right.
it was like what you would expect Raphael to answer to him, but also it was kind of like this is just like the image of me that you burn into yourself, right? I'm not necessarily
Right.
sure like this could be me or this could be just like the version that you knew me as,
Yeah. Yeah.
which was
Exactly.
like the really interesting part of it. But it also kind of like you know brought a lot of questions, right, to Novak.
Right. Yeah, because it's definitely just his interpretation, not really him.
Yeah,
So,
and I
but
think
I really did like that. The other dude was also, bringing, you know, memories from him, because he had a relationship with him and the memories of that relationship, like that was more deep, like
yeah,
and eye opening about him
yeah,
and things like
yeah. I mean, I
mm,
feel like he regretted killing Raph most of all, right? Because that's the last person he saw before he even died.
yeah,
So that was
yeah.
probably his one regret of everything he did. And I think pretty
Hmm.
much he did. While talking to Raph, he pretty much realized that if things were to be written down in like history, he would be known as like the villain, you know,
Yep.
and also that maybe heliocentrism wasn't the like the bad or like the blasphemy that he thought it was.
Hmm.
So I like almost teared up when he like put the hand in the glove. You know how I was telling you that
Hmm.
I wonder what would happen if he was gonna realize that it was her hand that blew up.
Right.
And yeah, no, I was so cinematic, so perfect. And then we get Draka who like gets away, right?
Right.
And she's bleeding out. Like poor girl, like not making it. She took the book, but not making it at all.
No, no, she's dying for sure. She's
And
dying. She was able to send out that message, but that was it.
yeah, she was able to send out the message at least, which becomes relevant
Mhm.
with the next person. But it, I love that in her dying moment, she kind of took in God, right? Or at least that's how I looked at it, where she kind of realized, this is where I'm dying, but like she at least noticed like the beauty of nature, kind of like what the Smith, right?
That
Well,
garb, yeah. Yeah, the sunrise.
yeah, and she just
She
kind of like,
hated it.
yeah, she kind of just
Yeah, it was
embraced,
kind of beautiful. How she was embracing it.
yeah,
Her last one,
yeah,
because she knew it was her last one. Yeah, it was definitely
yeah,
dramatic.
yeah, and
Great.
and then we meet Albert, the new protagonist of the story moving forward, which
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
He was an interesting fella, and it starts little like rough in a way because like he's we see that he's working as a baker,
Yeah.
but the baker kind of just calls him out that he's pretending or coming to to um settling, you can say. um yeah, it was very interesting because obviously the dude is just offering him a great opportunity going to university, and
Yeah.
he really has like a crush, in a way, like for it, right? Like he
Yeah.
really doesn't want to be near it or be like
Yeah. So like,
categorized with it or something.
so
And
on the next episode, we kind of get into why he doesn't want to do that. Where it's like, you remember back
right,
with Badini,
and
right?
he
And
obviously calls him out, like, but you're still holding on to those things, right?
yeah,
Like personal, like telescope and things like that. Um, so yeah, it starts off pretty like vague and like abstract in a way, but as we as he goes and does what, an errand for him to go to the church to deliver something or something, I don't even know, like,
yeah. So
because the
like,
thing is that he goes to the church and makes
yeah,
and starts doing a confession,
yeah.
and
Well,
we know this story. Go ahead.
well, I
Yeah.
just want to say before we get to his confession, right? There is like the whole thing with like how he, like you said, he was talking to the owner and stuff, and he pretty much had like the same thought of, I think he had like a similar thought as Bedini, where it's like knowledge shouldn't be shared by everybody at first. It's like like learning could lead to a lot more problems than actually solving them, which then we get into like where with his confession why he feels that way.
Right. No, yeah, it was really like, well done, like letting us know his strong stand, added.
Yeah,
And
and
then out of the sudden, kind of wants him to explain that to them, and he comes to the realization of how, I don't know, silly it is or something, or or wrong he's been taking it or looking at it, but it was really, really, really well done too. Just for one, like, like 2 episodes, shit. But yeah, during that confession, right? The priest seems to really want to dig into to the reason why he's not interested in going to the university, and we see that it has to do with Ralph, which I thought it was beautiful because this time we really get to see um, scenes and events that we didn't get to, when
yeah,
he
like
when it was his art.
he,
And obviously from another person's perspective, but the fact that it's a kid, I think it makes it the more intriguing, because obviously a kid is like so innocent
yeah,
and pure, so, and the fact that he kind of plays it out in adulthood, and he's able to kind of I don't know, grow to understand it better, or to not let it have the same impact that it did back then. It really, really, really makes it the more interesting, this this whole this whole
he,
story with him. Yeah.
yeah. So I really enjoy that part because like when he met Raph, right? He was so excited to learn, which is like his complete opposite to how he is in the present.
Hmm.
And Raph pretty much is the one that tells him, learning is not really bad. Like keep on wanting to learn, right?
Yeah, the curiosity.
Yeah, because the curiosity is what will lead to the truth, right?
Hmm.
And it, like you said, it was so interesting getting to see a different side of Raph that we didn't get to see before, and also
Mm-hmm.
learn um where he went before his big demise, right? In the third in
Right,
his arc, and what he was doing prior,
right, right, right.
which we know there was, which we didn't. We're like, when episode 24 was kind of airing, I was kind of like, why is he talking with this kid? Why did he take this tutoring job, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then we get to episode 25, and it's like, oh, so you want the all the research that his father
Right,
has,
that the father had. Right. He was
and
calculating.
he was pretty much using this kid to get close to there. And once he realized that the kid was like one of those that wanted to learn, he kind of took him in, kind of like, I don't want to say like he misled him in, right, in a way, because he he kind of gave him like a sweet, where it's like, here, you can come with me, we go here, we meet
Mm-hmm.
other people that are like-minded. And then he's like, I'm gonna dump you here, I need to go do something real quick, you can stay here. And then he goes,
Yeah.
and then the kid's like, well, shoot, I need to do my daily night checkings, right? Let
Right.
me go there real quick. And he gets there and he sees Raph took out his father, like, and it's like, Raph was just kind of like, listen, I know it looks bad, but
But I
there's
have a
logic
good
behind it.
reason.
No, not a good
Right.
reason. He's like, there's logic behind it, and there's good logic behind it. And pretty much he just tells him that it was either your father, or or I wouldn't be able to complete my research. One of the two. So I had to kind of like end him. So it kind of like brings a darker side of Raph that we didn't necessarily see in the first three episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes
Definitely.
it makes me want to go back to see the beginning three episodes, just to see how much different I feel. Going into like, it's like a whole revolving thing, right? Where it's like, you finish this season, and then you just go back and rewatch it, and then it'll
Mm-hmm.
probably have like a whole different perspective of how you see this anime, which technically it did end. I don't think there's more after this, because it's at the end. So
Yeah.
this is just like a season, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, eventually, Albert, after he confesses his sins, like, the priest kind of like tells his own, right, his own little secret. And we learned that, like, people can, and like their contradictions have to kind of coexist, right? You can't have one without the other, even if they don't seem like they belong together.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really where, like, after, like, Albert goes to university, he finally decides to attend classes and stuff, and you learn that everything's connected, because then the note that Draka sent off finally
No,
reaches.
he overhears it too, right?
Yeah.
He just happens to actually even hear what it was written. I
Yep.
thought it was so yeah, very 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 well done.
Yeah, but he kind of just dismisses it as like, nah, there's no way that the Earth moves, right? And
But then his curiosity just kind of takes it.
yeah, and then that's when they go through the whole end sequence, where it's kind of like, well, Albert ended up working in this university for like 20 years, and then eventually he had a student that eventually proved the heliocentrism did exist, right? I think that's the main. That's how the
Mm-hmm.
story ends and concludes, and
Yep.
yeah,
It was
overall,
it was such a crazy thing, right? Like
yeah,
all that, and it didn't even happen
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But it
I'm
still happened because the truth is the truth.
yes, and that's really all Albert wanted to do, right? That's what he eventually led himself to be, where it's like, no matter what happens, I'm gonna reach the truth. So,
Mhm.
kind of a big long way about it, but everything eventually did lead to the eventual truth, and I think that's why the show is so beautiful. It's kind of like a probably one of the best things uh
Mm,
this year so far, like, as like thought provoking, and all that.
yeah.
uh um but yeah, uh I think I give it like a 9 out of 10, almost damn near
Yeah, me
masterpiece.
too.
Maybe after I
Yep,
rewatch it,
I agree.
it'll go higher. But that's Orb.
That's Orb. Oh my god. Yeah, I was very happy
Me too.
that it was animated and by Wit.
Yeah, and that we were able to talk about it mainly. You know. Um, glad this was one. Okay, so you want to do solo leveling?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me go find it real quick. Because boy, do I want to talk about these episodes. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I got solo leveling stuff up. So solo leveling in 3, 2, 1, go. So solo leveling episode 21. The the elixir of life is finally complete. You know, we finally get to see Jinwoo's hard work pay off.
Oh yeah, this mom episode. Oh,
Yeah, the most hated
so
episode on
cute.
Crunchyroll for solo leveling.
Crazy.
Yeah. So your thoughts on the mother moment before I have my own?
Oh, it was great. I thought it was touching. Um, he makes it um he makes it known that you know that it was for this, right?
Yep.
This is what it was for, and and that he didn't regret it. Like it really was worth it, all that work.
Yep.
Um, no, it was great. To me, it was great. I'm glad it worked too. I mean,
Yep.
it would have been crazy
Yep.
if she didn't wouldn't have woken up.
Yeah. I
Oh,
I totally agree. Uh,
no,
and
it was
I for me,
amazing.
right, I was like,
Hmm.
before everything started playing and like they put the music and like the way they like soften it up and like even at times like just made it silent. I was already crying before it like started happening, and then when it started happening, everything just like went, and Waterworld just started happening. I was like, no, it was animated so well, and
Yeah.
I have not gone
Yeah.
to watch the English version of it, but I've been seeing
Hmm.
it, everybody like praise the dub for it. So I'm excited to like like I've been kind of like keeping up with the dub, but I let it stack up right now.
Hmm.
Um, I'm excited to like go
That's
back.
nice. Binge
I'm
it.
yeah, I'm excited to go back and re-experience this and cry all over again. You know,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it was a very touching episode. I'm just glad
I, like the part that
that we
really
get to
got
see
to
this
me.
moment.
Yeah, the part that really got to me is the fact that the mother didn't even ask him what he had gone through. She just knew, right? She just like, you've been through a lot, you know.
Hmm.
She like mothers just know by looking at you how what's happening, right? And it's just like it got
Right.
me. It got me, especially even after the sister showed up, and I love that Jimwoo like finally has this moment where he's kind of like somewhat like trying to get his normal life back together, even though in this episode he kind of feels like he's not worthy of having this life anymore, right? There's like a small moment where he's kind of like, man,
Hmm.
maybe I don't even belong in here anymore, right? And that's basically because of everything he's gone through. And yeah, no, super touching moment. And we get after this touching moment, we kind of get introduced to the other S rank hunters, right, from Japan, because we are
Hmm.
having a joint mission
A
about to
race,
happen.
yeah, at the Chuchu Island.
Yeah, we're finally gonna go back to Jeju Island. But we gotta test out each other first, right? Which is how this episode 21 ends, and then episode 22 is kind of like the exhibition matches.
Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
like taking like a little tour, and it's and it gets um and it's going to see them train with each
y-
other.
yeah, and
That was so like
I love that all the Japan based, of course, like because it's animated in Japan. Of course, Japan had to make them like the Japanese look a lot better. I think that's
right.
how it was also in the manga a bit, but like I think Japan went a little like the anime went a little extra on how good
Mm,
these people were. Um, and of course, Char's like the only one that's competent. Where she ends up kind of like miss attacking the guy, and Jinwoo steps in to save her. Uh,
yeah, yeah. Like and says this is a little bit. It's getting a little bit more friendly fighting.
yeah, because the guy snapped, and everyone, even the Japanese people were like, "Well, he snapped. What are we gonna do?" Like, and of course Jinwoo stepped in there, and it's like damn, him and the main Japanese guy had kind of like a little bit of an aura off.
Hmm.
And and then they were like, okay, let's just scrap for a bit. Let's see how good you are, which everybody thinks Jinwoo is like a mage type because of his
A mage. I
summons.
know everybody keeps saying that. Oh, I thought he was a mage. I
Yep.
thought. No, but yeah, dude, the fact that he in with the with Goto, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
that
And
was
he
so intense.
yeah, he was like dodging him easily, and even Goto was like, "Hey, you're kind of playing around. Like, why don't we
Right.
get serious here?" And pretty much like Jinwoo ends up like catching his hand right. He's like, "Well, if I caught you in the risk, the match would be over." And then everybody realized, "Oh no, they're getting way too serious."
Yeah, I like how they felt the need to stop it.
Yeah, like um,
Like, whoa.
yeah, they were like, we shouldn't let him go at him seriously. One of them could end up getting killed.
Hmm.
And then it's like, okay, well, what are you gonna do, Jinwoo? Are you going? And he's kind of like, nah, I think I'm gonna stay back. It's like I'm gonna stay back, be with my family. You guys got it. There's
I
like,
know, right? He really just turned down the offer mission.
yeah, and
Glad they respected it, you know?
yeah, I'm glad
I
too.
was pretty, I was very, very,
Uh huh.
so, but I'm glad that also
Yeah, you're kind of cutting off a bit.
had a, oh, sorry. But I'm also glad that he had a trick under his sleeve
Yeah, because
and and he like planted, his shadows too.
not just any shadows, right? He planted his main shadow force, and they're like the main guys, I think, right?
Mm, yeah.
But yeah, we got 15 S rank hunters. Even one of them's coming out of retirement. The healer, the one that was in the first raid that failed.
Hmm.
He finally came out
Oh
of.
yes, dude. That was so moving. Because we also saw in the past episode how that lion red hair dude approached him right to like
Yep.
and things. And he kind of like turned him down and whatever. And now he's yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was kind of like the guy came in there to be like, it could be my last time being able to get a drink with you. Let's let's be buddies. Like this one time, just in case. And the guy ended up
Yeah.
realizing, I'm one of the few S rank. I'm like the only S rank healer around here. If I don't go, things could be even worse, right? Maybe they really won't come back.
Hmm.
So that's why he.
Oh my god! And the fact that
Yep.
oh no,
Before we get there,
it
they finally make it to the island,
was
right?
hurt. It
Yeah.
was hurt.
Yeah,
Yes.
they make it to the island, and pretty much they're like, okay, it's going pretty smoothly, like everything's going smoothly, and then the episode ends with one of the Japan S rankers getting their head chopped off,
Getting head, like
and it
taking
was. How'd you feel
like
about the
nothing.
cliffhangers, by the way, so far in these?
Oh my god, painful,
Yeah.
painful. They really doing it on purpose
Yes, they are.
with trailers. Yeah,
Um, but
agreed.
episode 24, finally, we get the episode 23 was really sick because they gave us the point of view of the person whose head got lopped off. Like, that was crazy. Like, I did not expect them to be like that much like evil, like, oh, you remember the cute girl that we decapitated? Here's her point of view, you know.
Yeah,
Um, but as everything's going on, the Korean hunters land in the nest and they're pushing through and they make it to the queen.
they do. They do. Right? They very thought out strategy,
Yeah, they got kind of like
and
a
they
strategy. Yeah,
yeah, like and it's coming out smoothly, like all towards the end, until
I,
they kind of like killed the woman.
yeah, they
And
keep. So
yeah,
I love that the S rank healer was kind of like backing them up, boosting them all throughout, and making them even more powerful. And
yeah, boosting them and healing them.
and Cha had like a really good spotlight. Like, he was chopping things up, kind of like
Yes,
Levi Ackerman. Like,
yes,
you know, Cha was such a. She ended up being winded because of all the work she did.
yes, yes. She was the most wounded because of because of all the damage she'd created. Hmm.
And just when we think things are going their way, um, the Ant Queen does one final scream, and then who shows up? The
Ah,
the Ant King. Which, by the way, sick work of them to give him Jim Woo's OST when he took out those six hunters from the Seagate. Like, they gave him that same OST as he was taking them out. Which, first of all, Cha was the one that was like the most injured with one hit. Like, just wonk her, and like I think the manga kind of showed that he kind of ripped part of her rib cage.
oh my god.
And the anime wasn't as brutal, but it still looked pretty bad. Like, you could see like definitely ribs broken. Her arm was
Yeah.
like dislocated, and then he just started like piecing up the other ones. Like the fire guy, he just kind of like slashed them. Boom. The big guy, he just tossed him up and like gave him the Hulk treatment to Loki,
Right.
And then they're so
Oh no,
stupid.
he really was
And then they were so stupid. They were like,
going with them.
yeah, they were so stupid. One of them was like, as long as we have our S rank healer,
I
we,
know.
we
Right.
will be good. And the S rank healer was like using stealth, and it did not matter. We got the crushing uh point of view of Bear, like, or like the Ant King, like, putting his whole hand through his chest, like, yeah, buddy, you're not coming out. you know
Yeah.
after after he decided to go in there and help him, he's the one that gets chopped off first, like, from them anyway, which um he does end up eating his head, right? And then he ends up gaining the ability to talk.
That was really intense.
Yeah, so like,
Like
uh
literally at the moment that he ate his head,
yeah, he started sounding
his
like him
last
too.
words, yeah, his last words were echoing,
Yep.
and he took the ability to talk from that. Like, whoa,
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. So, not really like explained, but the Ant King's ability is kind of like, he whatever he eats, he kind of gains their ability. So like, he ate the
Mm,
the Ant Queen, and that's why he's able to call the ants over, you know.
Uh,
And of course, now that he ate the healer, that explains why he's able to heal himself in the next
the
episode,
hill.
you know.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I love that the next thing he said was, "Who's your king?" Right? You killed our queen. I want your king.
Right.
And he goes to Godo,
Good. Yes, dude.
which Godo
Wow.
was able to defend his first strike, but then he saw the aura, right? The menacing aura. Is like, oh shit. He makes me feel kind of like what Jim Woo made me feel. I'm scared, right? Scared out of his
Mhm.
fans, and everything seems like okay. We got a breather. We need to go. Let's get out. And then the ants like start finally swarming in there, and it's like, oh, okay, well, we're kind of fucked now. We're injured, and we're kind of low
Yeah.
on mana.
And everything.
Yeah, we're kind of fucked. And then what ends up happening? The shadows pop out of them,
Mhm.
and then of course this entire episode we didn't have Jim Woo. He gets his like 15 seconds, and it ends with him just going like exchange. And then I swear, like everybody's most hated image right now are his ankles, because the episode just starts and then it ends off with his ankles. And the ending theme starts playing. But that was 23, and then we get this week's episode, which is 24. Oh, so your thoughts on the entire episode before we really talk
Oh my
about?
goodness. Um, I think this whole like season has had such good episodes
Yep,
that this is like the third one, you know, and and like the one with the red ogres was one.
yep.
The the one with the
The Demon King.
demon knight or whatever. Yeah,
Yep. And
was
then
another one.
this one with the Ant
And
King.
then now this one with the Ankin. Whoa,
But this
it's
one is
like
the best one, right?
right. No, I mean with his moves like that. I mean with how it started, like very like slow motion in a way, or
The hero coming in.
like he called it test of strength,
Yeah. Oh my
like
god.
and
So
then and then it became to like a test of speed and strength. Oh my god,
so
it was
before we talk
beautiful.
about the actual fight, right? Jimu
Hmm.
does come in, flexes on the little ants, right? With his own army, and then everyone's like, Jimu, how did he get here, right? And
Uh-huh.
it was bad because the entire stream was cut off for a while,
Right.
so nobody knew what was happening. Everyone was freaking out. Like even the chairman guy was like, "I need to know if my people are okay." Right? It's like,
Hmm.
if only I would have been there. Like you can really feel like the chairman had like this anxiety that he wasn't. He should have been in that battlefield. The
Hmm.
and Jinwoo like comes in, heals everybody with his higher end potions, but it doesn't affect Cha because she is
I
too
know.
strong. She's too strong for the potions to affect her. And that's where it's like became even a race of a ticking clock, right? Where like, okay, we need to wrap this up so we can get her some proper treatment. And then Beru shows up, slowly walking. The aura off was crazy, right? Like you saw
Right.
you saw the red versus the blue. Basically, how you saw it,
Yeah.
how you
Exactly. I love that. I
yeah,
love the red versus blue.
yeah, great contrast. And
Hmm.
then like you said, great test of strengths. I love that
Hmm.
they weren't even like actually like fighting at first. Like you said, they were
No. Uh-huh.
they punch each other. They're like, okay, so you're this strong.
Hmm.
And what I love about this test of strength, test of speed, test of skills was the fact that at first Jinwoo was the one that was chasing Beru. Like Jinwoo was like, okay, you're this strong, I gotta get stronger. You're this
Yeah.
fast, I'm gonna get faster.
Hmm.
And even like the camera work that went into like the fight, it started. It started off from Jinwoo's point of view. So like it started off from like the person that seemed the weakest, and then it towards the end when the Ant King started realizing, oh no, Jinwoo's actually besting me in everything.
Mhm.
Then we got
Yep.
his point of view when he was trying to run away from Jinwoo, and I'm like, this is so perfect, like in every aspect, like the animation, the music that they were using, the camera
Yeah.
angles that they were working with, and uh, in the manga, they didn't make Beru seem at least competent in the fight. In the anime,
Uh
they
huh.
actually made him like put up a fight, at least.
Yeah.
So that was really good for me. I definitely think the anime is kind of like a better way of experiencing it,
Of course. Yeah. The music,
and
the
every
acting.
yeah, I can't wait to see how the dub persons do this because it's gonna I'm gonna be waiting a bit, but it's gonna be really good. I feel, and yeah, so fight was over. Jinwoo obviously, maxes one of his skills, which lets him kill uh, the Ant King, and then his first thought is,
I love that he chopped him up.
yeah, mutilated him.
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, so you can
Mhm.
regenerate? I'll just cut you up enough that you can't regenerate at all."
Uh-huh.
Pretty vicious of him, and I love that we switch from Jinwoo being so vicious, right, to him going to look after Cha. Like he was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll use the elixir potion," and that did not work either.
Mhm.
So now and then it just like ends off with once again another huge cliffhanger where he's like just turns around and then music plays, ankles taking us from our ankles again. Yeah, but
Yeah.
one of my favorite,
America singer.
yeah, one of my favorite shots from this episode was when Jinwoo was falling, right, and the Ant King had his claws close to his eye.
Mhm.
That was crazy. It is just this episode just had a lot of clean moments. I definitely think for this week it was definitely my favorite episode,
Yeah.
which is saying something because I want to like one of the ones that I also want to talk about had another of my favorites. But any thoughts on how this wraps up? Is Cha gonna live? I should ask you.
Yep. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. How is definitely a little part that I don't know.
Mm, okay, well, guess you'll have to wait and see for next week. I already know, but you'll have to wait and see. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I think that's it, right? You got anything else?
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. That's it.
Okay,
That's it for
well,
sure. And I
okay,
think that's it for me tonight. I just got a headache. Oh, and the headphones are not helping.
okay, well that's
So,
fine. Uh,
but I'll hit you up tomorrow in you know early enough so we can really finish this. Um, what? Oh, Sakamoto Days.
uh, Blue Box.
You watch it?
Yeah, I watched
Oh,
Sakamoto.
oh, Blue Box, fucking good. Oh my God, yes, Blue Box, yes, definitely.
There's,
Yes, and yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the other one that we can really not today, but like hopefully tomorrow. Uh,
Yeah, for sure.
Medalist and Danmachi.
Oh yeah. Yes, that's right. We need to finish. Yeah, okay. So yeah, we definitely have some. Okay,
Mm,
definitely gonna hit you up early enough for us to get 2 to 3 hours done.
okay, well,
Alrighty then.
that's it. Thank you guys for showing up. If you
Yes,
like the
you.
discussions, you can watch it on our streams. For those YouTube people, we stream it on Twitch every in at least Saturdays, and anything else, it'll be in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Well,
Okay, I'll be texting you. You have a good night.
All right,
Bye
you
bye.
too. All right, bye.